In this video, we are going to compare GPT-5 High Fast to Cloud for Sonnet thinking with a single prompt. See if any one of them can one shot from this prompt. This prompt actually includes some curveballs, such as to use a model name that both models don't know. You use reasoning, which they may not be familiar with the API parameter, web search tool, which OpenAI provides for us. Also, to take in user input is a string variable. And if you look here, these are the criteria we are going to test it on. Are the variables on top? Because I have custom instructions to have major variables as all capitalized variables at the top. User input, how did the script handle user input? Did the model adhere to the instruction to use GPT-5? Was the web search tool implemented properly? Was the reasoning parameter implemented properly? And was the prompt quality good that the model has written for us for these? So we have two files. We're going to take a look. First of all, let's take a look. I have custom instructions that instruct the model to have major variables at the top. Let's start with GPT-5. GPT-5 adheres to the prompt pretty stringently. But it does some weird stuff, such as trying to get the model name from the environment variables, but it did write the model name correctly. We'll come to it. It tries to get the user topic from environment variables. I just have to tell it not to do that, so that's a quirk. On the other hand, Sonnet did this much better, in my opinion. I think this one goes to Sonnet. Um, I mean, It's a bit unfair. I can easily fix this with GPT-5, but I have to add additional instructions. Maybe it is misinterpreting my instructions. I just wish this to be like a string, right? Here I say quantum or something, what have you. It just goes around like this. Anyway, that's not a big deal. Next, user input. Well, it is taking user input here, not as a string variable, but from environment. GPT-5 does. I can easily switch this to a string, but it did not follow our, because here I'm saying as a string var. But it is taking the user input here. If it doesn't see it and from the environment variables, it is taking it through the terminal. So that's good. We'll give that a pass. Here, Sonnet also takes it as a variable. I guess this is, but Sonnet did have also at the top a user topic, but they both did. So we'll give this a pass for both. Okay, this is the important part, model name. So this is where GPT-5 starts to shine. If you look at Sonnet 4, it assigns the model GPT-4o. But then also here, it wants to try a bunch of models like GPT-5, then O1, O1 Preview, O1 Mini. Uh, so it really didn't. So let's step back a second. I did say that search the web to find out what you don't know for implementation. So both models did search the web. Sonnet searched the web. So did GPT-5, but Sonnet just did all these crazy things. I'm going to call this a fail because it did not assign GPT-5. That's what we said to use as the model. But GPT-5 did assign it as GPT-5. Again, it did a weird thing where it wants to detect it from environment variables, but otherwise it's using GPT-5. So in this case, GPT-5 wins. We're going to give it a fail for Sonnet. And this is an important, I think, point where, oftentimes you're working with newer APIs and libraries and models. Generally speaking, even when given the chance to search the web, and they both did, Claude models still tend to revert back to their older ways, which like older model names that they think they know. Now, even though GPT-5 has a older knowledge cutoff time, sometime in late 2024, and Sonnet has a later cutoff, it just It just doesn't make use of the information that it has found when it does web search. And this is going to become apparent when we look at the web search tool. Now, if you look at GPT-5, it accurately describes the web search tool, enable web search, true. And if we come here to implementation detail, it is if web search is enabled, it is going to correctly set the tools to web search. And I actually ran this. This works, so no errors. Versus Sonnet tried to create a custom function for web search and didn't really implement that function. So this is a big fail on Sonnet's part. Uh, it created a custom web search tool description, but there is no web search. So this again goes to GPT-5. Sonnet is a fail here, and this is again important because web search tool is a new ability that you can use from OpenAI API. And Sonnet had the chance to search for it. If you look at the search, ChatGPT web browsing search tool API access 2024, like it did search for it. Also, another thing to mention is that um, Sonnet did more web searches than GPT-5, although they can vary from time to time. Um, so I'm not sure if GPT-5's cutoff is late 2024. I don't know if GPT-5 knows about its own documentation. I I highly doubt it. But it's a fail for Sonnet here. Like reasoning parameter, it was reasoning parameter implemented correctly here. Sonnet did not, as a matter of fact, implement a reasoning parameter at all. If you search for reasoning, uh, we do not find any reasoning parameter at all. So it completely skipped it. Like it did not even implement it. So that's a fail for Sonnet 4, but for GPT-5, it's a win. It did implement the reasoning parameter if reasoning effort is enabled. So that's a win for GPT-5 and a fail for Sonnet. Now, another thing to notice is that GPT-5 is using the latest responses API versus Sonnet is still using the old chat.completions. Now, I'm not going to say this is a win or lose for either one of them because we did not mention that here explicitly, but I guess it's a plus for GPT-5 that it used the latest responses API. But we're not going to worry about that so much. So prompt quality, if we, so this, I know I skipped reading the prompt, but this is a script which asks GPT, which gives GPT-5 a user selected topic, and GPT-5 is supposed to return as many questions that needs to be answered for that topic to be fully and entirely understood. Okay, so it's pretty simple. User enters a topic, GPT-5 does web searches and a lot of thinking and returns all related questions about that topic that needs to be answered for that topic to be fully understood. So that's so then they both needed to write instructions for this. If you look here to GPT-5, this is its instructions. You are a world-class context engineer. For a given topic, generate an exhaustive hierarchical list of questions that must be answered fully and entirely uh, to be answered to fully and entirely understand it. Cover fundamentals, definitions, history, timelines, stakeholders, mechanisms, processes, data, metrics, case studies, edge cases, risks, ethics, safety, legal, regulatory, economics, geopolitics, open problems, unknowns, debates, alternatives, verification, ways to falsify, incorporate very recent developments, past 12 months, use web search when useful. If you look at Sonnet, it says you are an expert researcher and educator. Your task is to generate comprehensive list of questions that would need to be answered fully to fully and entirely understand any given topic. Consider all fundamental aspects and dimensions, include historical context and background, current developments, recent developments, so future implications, technical, social, cultural. and it also reiterates the same similar things in a user message. So um, I felt, even though GPT-5's instructions are more concise, it covers more areas. But I like how Sonnet wrote it. I think they both win in this case. So let's give them a plus. So, in my opinion, GPT-5 wins this hands down. One of my the important thing here, I think, at least as far as I am concerned, is that GPT-5's long context comprehension is great, and but so is Sonnet. I can show this to you. One sec. Okay, so here is GPT-5, here is Sonnet. They both are great at long context comprehension. This is from Fiction Live Bench. So there's no problem there. And oftentimes people say cloud models are great at tool calling. Perhaps, you know, this outlines their agentic capability. But as a matter of fact, at the METR benchmark, GPT-5 was the one that can complete the longest long horizon agentic tasks at 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I believe that GPT-5 is a better agent. So it can search for new and up to date information, and it knows when it found it more often than not. Of course, it'll fail sometimes. And this is a perfect demonstration of it, where when you're building applications. Now, I'm not saying Sonnet 4 is bad by any means. Sonnet 4 is great when you know, maybe this prompt needs to be more explained, or I need to give code examples, or maybe if you're dealing with the type of, you know, app that already like that doesn't rely on the latest and the greatest APIs and things like that. Sonnet might as well do better. So this is not what we're testing here. But when you're dealing with new tools, GPT-5 tends to be able to search and find the answer better and implement it. That's what I've seen. I've made another video on this as well. I'll take this with a grain of salt. This is only one example, but I hope you found this useful. Also, if you're interested, I do consulting work, and you can actually hire me from my Patreon. Link will be below in the comment and description, depending on where you're watching this from. I also have a smaller Patreon tier where if you become a member, you can gain access to my exclusive videos and over 400 apps that I built and I continue to build. So consider becoming a patron, and I appreciate you watching this. Take care.